Hey, how's it going, man?
Tom, good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Just trying to keep myself on schedule, trying my
Awesome.
best.
Yeah,
It's like the fact that we're only 5 minutes behind. I think that's kind of a win, right?
it's pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
How things been going with y'all?
Yeah, good. Good. We're getting along. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. Last time we chatted was on our was it our debut episode of the Rock Show or one of the early episodes of our Rock Show? And
It's been
you
a
know,
while.
it is one of those things where we were spent a lot of time trying to find the time to get the interview done, and that Perth to Texas,
Yep.
like you'd think like it would be one of the easier ones to pull off, but you guys are like right in that sweet spot of what's convenient for you is inconvenient for me, and it's like
Yep.
we got to find that spot. So
Yeah. Yeah. Super awkward timing.
right.
Yeah.
Um, so what are you guys working on right now? You guys got anything in the plans, or what are you guys doing as the frauds?
Yeah. So just released a new single called Haze, dropped on everything on the 6th of November.
Nice.
So that's a new one that's just come out, and just finished the recording of another one.
Nice.
That's is a bit of a surprise release. So that'll be coming out very soon.
Sweet.
Yeah, and a couple of gigs to celebrate it. So
Sweet. Are you
yeah.
guys building towards like a fuller length project, or you kind of stay in singles right now?
There has been discussions of an EP early mid next year. We've got a couple of very cool shows coming up,
Nice.
including New Year's Eve down in the southern part of WA. A big show for that, and we're also, hasn't been announced yet or released yet, but we're meant to be doing a Euro trip next year with a
Nice.
couple of gigs. So we're going touring. So yeah, we're building to some pretty big things in the mid to late part of next year.
Nice. I do have to say though, since we've done our interview, I went from never interviewing a band or a musician from Perth. Now I've interviewed like 4 or 5
The
people just in,
floodgates open.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, because it used to be the joke that like I used to make the joke of like when people would ask me if I've interviewed anybody from Perth, I'd always say, oh, I didn't think they had musicians up there, because I'd try and get people from Perth and nobody would like
Nobody's
respond. And I
around.
was like, okay, I guess you just don't have musicians. And I got introduced to you and a couple other people, and I'm like, oh, okay. I just needed to
Yeah.
find that one. So
Yeah, there's a few of us. It's funny because we don't get a lot of the big acts don't like to make stops in Perth because it's too much
yeah,
of a pain for them. So we miss all the good ones. But I got to see Steve Vai last weekend, which was a highlight. So
nice. That's really
yeah,
cool. That's awesome.
we get someone every now and then,
Yeah.
and it's usually
Well,
good. Yeah.
I mean, if they're coming from Asia, like, I mean, I guess that wouldn't be the worst swing to go from like wherever to Perth.
No, it's usually it's hard for them to transport their gear from Perth over east because it's quite a long distance. So
Mm,
it usually costs a lot of money for them to kind of get their gear over, and the whole production crew and everything, a
mm.
big effort. So it's partially understandable, but I feel like plenty of them have the money to be able to do it if they
Right.
wanted to. But
That, or I feel like somebody's smart enough to start a stage and rigging company just to try and bring in bigger
yeah,
acts.
yeah,
You know,
yep,
it's like, oh, you can't afford that, but I'll let you use my stuff for half the price.
yeah, yeah, could
You
work.
know, it would be a thing. So for this new song that you said, or that you just dropped a couple weeks ago, Haze, what's the story behind this song?
This was pretty much the first song we wrote after a quite a long hiatus from the scene. We all got together, a few new members and all the rest, and I came in with a pretty cool chord progression that I really liked, and the band really liked it too, and everybody piled in, and I think it was about 2 weeks or 3 weeks between writing and jumping in the studio and recording the drums. So it was a really short, sweet kind of process, and it turned out amazing to us. Our producer Troy, he did a fantastic job on bringing it to life. So
That's sick.
yeah,
That's awesome. And then it's going to be followed up by another single. Have you announced anything about that yet, or is it just kind of?
It's funny. I kind of announced it last time I spoke to you.
Yeah.
It was the one that we took down.
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah.
we've rewritten and re-recorded and everything. Got what's getting towards the final mix back today. So we're that'll be coming out very, very soon, and I'm sure there'll be a few people that are excited about it because it was heavily requested.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm glad you guys are re-releasing that song. You kind of like went back into the lab, reworked it, or like re-recorded it, and it's coming back out. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Uh,
Looking forward to it.
yeah. How's shows looking for you all right now? Are you guys playing pretty regularly, or what's going on with that?
We're taking our time to get back into it.
Okay.
We've got a launch for Hayes on the 2nd of December,
Okay.
and then New Year's Eve, and we're just trying to keep it a bit mellow,
Okay.
just to work ourselves back into it, and really kind of light up the middle half of next year. Hopefully get all the way around WA a bit, and then overseas. So
Nice.
that's going
That's
to be
nice.
a big tour.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad you guys are getting out and, like, I mean, I feel like Perth, and I mean, not I feel like it is. Perth is like a little island in a landlocked country, a
Yeah.
landlocked island almost.
Yeah.
And it probably doesn't get the love that it deserves, but the fact that you guys are out there just grinding away, trying to make it work yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's all you can do.
Yeah.
There's plenty
Oh,
of people that move east and do all that, but
yeah.
yeah.
I was going to say, it obviously it's not cheap to get around Australia, but um, can you drive from east to west, or is that just too long of a haul and too sketchy?
No, plenty of
Or
people do it.
okay, okay,
It's quite the distance. There's a road called the Nullarbor straight through the middle of South Australia, and that's basically 2 or 3 days of dead road and nothing. So
okay,
it is a long drive, but you can do it.
okay.
With the price of petrol at the moment, though, it wouldn't be a cheaper way to travel at the
Yeah,
moment. But
I
yeah,
got you. Because I've been like every once in a while I'll get on this kick of trying to plan a trip to Australia, just kind of like, hey, if I were to go to Australia next month, what would I do type thing.
yep,
Um and I've been really interested in looking at like taking some of the like I guess there's like a train that goes from like Melbourne to Perth or
yeah.
Sydney, something like that. I was like, that'd be kind of cool. Like it's expensive, but that'd be a cool way to travel.
You'd probably see a whole lot of nothing.
Fair enough.
It's not like a train through Europe where you kind of go through all these little towns and stuff. It's
Hmm,
kind of like a train straight over the desert, essentially. So
fair,
you'd be looking at red dirt for a few
fair,
days. But yeah,
fair. I guess it's no different than going through some of the Southwest here in the States, going driving through that. It's a lot of desert, a lot of sand, a lot of that. So,
yeah.
so what outside of music, what have you been up to recently?
Just studying, getting towards the back end of my degree now. So putting in the hard yards.
Nice.
Just being a bit, yeah. Trying to plan the trip, which is the big kicker, because
Mhm.
organizing 6 people is hard enough, and then organizing 6 musicians is even worse.
Yeah.
So it's a constant battle, but it'll all be worth it in the end. But yeah, just keeping on.
Nice. Nice. How long's the band in its current lineup? How long have y'all been playing together?
Well, our first show together will be December.
Okay.
We actually haven't done a gig together yet, but my my goal is to hopefully keep this to be the the final lineup.
Nice.
We've hopefully got a new girl coming in to take on the keys role and the backing vocals and some lead stuff as well.
Nice.
Because unfortunately we lost Ella, so we are just trying to get ready for bigger things and keeping the group together and
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the hardest part of being in a band is keeping the band together, right?
Yeah. I mean, things come up in life, and sometimes it's difficult for people to commit, and some people have kind of bigger commitment to things than others, or or other priorities, and that happens. So it's definitely a struggle, but I think the group we've kind of got together now is a very solid group, and who are all on the same page of what we're working towards, and hoping that we can stick it out and make a few waves.
Nice. Awesome. And then obviously we've been talking about the new music that you're dropping, but are you currently writing or working on writing anything, or is that kind of taking a backseat right now?
We've got a couple of new songs we're planning to bring to the gig. It's kind of a fine balance. We haven't played for a while, and the people that will be showing up to the gig, they'll probably want to hear a few of the old tunes. So it's just finding a balance of how many songs we that are new that we bring in, and how many old ones. And there's old songs that we've scrapped since that we are just not fond of, or they didn't do well when we gigged them and stuff like that. So yeah, we're constantly working. I'm constantly writing. Getting the band ready to kind of gig has been the priority, so it's taken a little bit of a backseat, but it's definitely on the forefront of my mind.
That's awesome. That's as far as like gigging goes and whatnot, what does a gig, what does a live show look like for y'all for the frauds?
Well, there's been a lot of ideas thrown out for this next
Mm,
one. I don't know how many of them are going to come to fruition for this, but I like to make it a spectacle of music. I like it to be a party, and I like having people leave the show going, wow, that was such a great show, because nothing makes me happier than when I go to watch a big artist, and they've just got the show is just as much as the music, and it makes the most sense to give people the chance to kind of not only listen to your music but vibe with you,
yeah.
and party and dance and bring all that joy. And so I love the idea of unfortunately a lot of the stages in Perth are a bit too small to throw out any kind of
Yeah.
bigger ideas. I was trying to make this gig an outdoor event,
Hmm.
but it just got a little bit too difficult to find a date. It's really hard to book gigs at the moment. You're
Yeah.
having to book really far in advance. So we've gone to our old rooms job. So it's just we're there to play music and have some fun. So yeah.
Gotcha. You'd mentioned that gigs are getting harder to book. Is that an Australia thing, or is that more Perth?
I'm not too sure over East. The last I spoke to a friend of mine in Melbourne, he was saying that basically there were nobody was gigging.
Mm,
Granted, that was kind of in the peak of COVID times.
mhm.
But it's getting difficult here because there's a lot more tribute bands now.
Yeah.
And so tribute bands tend to do quite well, bringing people in, and pubs have got to make money, so they like to book tribute bands and stuff like that. As well as during COVID, I suppose a lot of people picked up instruments and came out the back of it deciding they wanted to play music and be in a band, and there's a lot more bands than when we left the scene. That's for sure, by a massive percent. So
Yeah.
and unfortunately a lot of venues are closing down as well, so the options are getting slimmer as we're going along.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a struggle out there, and unfortunately, I think that's a kind of a consistent thing. Is a lot of these bars and these venues are booking tribute bands because they want stuff that can like, you know, sing like stuff that people can sing to or whatnot.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
And so obviously, businesses are going to make money or they go under. So I understand it. I understand it because it's they've got a livelihood they've got to make. But it's just a shame for the original scene that it suffers a little bit due to kind of all these factors. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us. If anybody wants to check out any of your music or shows or any of that stuff, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, you can jump on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook. We're the Frauds Band on Instagram, the Frauds Band 1 on Facebook, I think. And yeah, the Frauds on Spotify.
Awesome. Well, once again, man, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And we're going to play a little musical roulette here and bring in our next guest.
Judy, thanks for having me.
Yep. You have a good one.